Now, welcome to my mini keynote on the future of immersive technologies. My name is Mischa Dohler. I'm professor at King's College London, working on various aspects of that technology. And you will probably be intrigued what SR stands for. So let's start that keynote. Now, the first thing I'd like to ask you is, when it comes to VR, is that really what we want? Is that really what we want for us, for our children, for the planet? Is that the way how we want to socially engage? So I always found VR really rather an impairment than a technological liberation, as we actually probably perceived other technologies to be. And it actually also drives, if you think about it, a massive digital divide, because most people cannot afford or actually do not want to afford the devices which you need to put on your head to be transported into these new worlds. And also some people get very dizzy when they put it on. I'm not sure you've tried that, but really it is something which massively limits our social interaction. And then people have used it, they also will know it's actually quite a safety hazard, right? So from a tech point of view, it also turns out that other technologies such as augmented reality have actually a much higher uptake in the last years, which I think just really corroborates that point, that probably the days of virtual reality as a consumer product used by billions, it's probably that vision will never really materialize. Let's see, but what we have in return. Now, the big question really which comes out is why is VR so hyped, right? So why is it so hyped? Well, we clearly love the idea of, creating or recreating, worlds, and in worlds which are in a way controlled, right? So, for instance, in the virtual reality world, you would pre-render a lot of material to really make sure that the visuals appear exactly as you want and the engagements are done as you want, whether you're teaching or you're having a B2B app which shows how certain things need to be engineered, right? So we love that idea. I think it's really great. Now, when virtual reality emerged, we didn't have really that capability to deal with our chaotic physical reality, right? So if you look around us, a lot of things happen all the time, and loads of objects there, different lighting. So to just really weave something into this world, which has been pre-rendered, is just really, really complex, right? But this is changing now. This is really changing now, because now we have 5G, and shortly we have hopefully 6G to come, and they will really allow us to overlay worlds onto our physical reality. And for this, we really need three ingredients. So the first thing we really need is a below 10 millisecond network, and that is really needed to transport, I call that emotional engagement. So, the difference between being on a Zoom call and meeting somebody in person is that you really build an emotional bond when you meet people in person. The reason is because the interaction, the engagement from a neural point of view happens within 10 milliseconds. Now, any tech which is able to recreate that gives us exactly that power, and the new technologies such as 5G and 6G are able to deliver on that promise. We then also need, very powerful rendering engines, and they cannot be too far. So therefore, that whole notion of edge cloud, which is really driven by the telco industry, comes very timely. It's very handy right now, because we can enact split rendering, where part of the images are being rendered essentially in an edge cloud. So you can imagine in the future, with my augmented reality device, might be a mobile phone, or my glasses, maybe Apple glasses, right? And I'm scanning the environment with a LiDAR sensor. The data is being transported not very far into an edge cloud. Some rendering is being done, and then it's being streamed down like a Netflix movie onto my glasses or onto my contact lenses, and suddenly I see that world in very different eyes. Maybe I don't like the color of a certain furniture, I can change that. Or maybe I feel it's too crowded, so I make it less crowded. So we can be very creative in terms of how we use that technology. And the third thing we need is apart from the network and apart from the edge cloud, we also need quite a bit of AI, because it turns out that, to really have this emotional 10 millisecond engagement, you have a very limited radius of interaction. Remember, we want to build a social internet. We don't want to build an asocial intranet, okay? So therefore, to be able for anybody, let's see, me from London to anybody in Los Angeles, on Beijing, Buenos Aires, on Sydney, to communicate using that technology in ways which we have not imagined yet, we need prediction, right? Because you can't beat the speed of light, and it takes for the signal a long time to travel across the planet. So therefore, using AI such as NVIDIA had recently presented is really interesting, because we can do a lot of prediction. So with these three ingredients, I think we're really well equipped to completely change this world. And in this world, in the early days, was really driven by VR. Then now it's kind of pivoting into augmented reality, AR. And we are currently, exploring new, applications. They're now coming under the envelope of XR. But what I really think is the future is really SR, which stands for synchronized reality, because what we are able to do with this AI prediction and low latency networks in the split rendering is to synchronize 2 or more physical and virtual worlds, right? So this is not anymore pre-rendering. This is not anymore very controlled content. This is adoption on the run. We are synchronizing different realities, whether these are real realities or digital realities, doesn't really matter anymore. And it feeds really nicely into this notion of metaverses. Now, what are the applications? Loads of applications we can think of, and I'm sure as part of this conference you will hear a lot of really exciting applications. The one I'm excited about is the one I've been pioneering now for quite a while. It's called the Internet of Skills. So, if you zoom out a little bit, and our current industry thinking is really to use all this amazing tech we are designing every day to improve, machines, right? So you will have heard of the agenda of Industry 4.0. So what we're doing is we're developing amazing technology to empower machines. Now, this is not what I want to do. I want to empower humans. I want to empower you. I want to empower myself, anybody else who's got a talent, right? And I'm driving this notion of human 4.0, which kind of counterbalances a little bit that notion of industry 4.0, right? So human 4.0, really amplifying your talent, your skills. You should be able in the future, using this technology, this metaverse technology, to transmit anything you want to transmit, whether that is touch, or you want to transmit muscle movement, right? You want to execute a skill. Somebody wants to teach me how to paint because I'm very lousy at that. Or I can teach somebody how to play the piano because I'm very good at that, right? Or engineers could essentially maintain engines, car engines, etc. You can be very creative at that. And, using that next generation technology, based on these ingredients, such as 5G, 6G, soft robotics, advanced AI, edge cloud, etc., we are able to build this next generation internet, right? This Internet of Skills. And I really think it will be an enabler for remote skill set delivery. And if we manage to build this, right, so then we will really democratize labor, skills, talent, right? We'll democratize it globally the same way as the internet has democratized information and knowledge. So I hope I convinced you that the future is not really virtual reality. The future is something very different, synchronized reality and the Internet of Skills. Now, thanks for listening in. I'm happy to take now Q&A later on. And in the meantime, a picture here from my office in London. Once the lockdown is properly over, you're most welcome to visit me in London. I'll show you all the amazing technology we have been using. We've been working with really big brands. So I worked with Rob from Massive Attack, and we're now preparing something really, really exciting for the end of this year, using that really novel low latency networking technology in the music industry. So thanks so much, and hopefully speak later and have some really great discussions and engagement. Thank you.